Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Handhelds. I'm Joey, and today I'm going to help you set up the Retro Arena on your Anbernic RG Arc. Retro Arena is a custom firmware for your RG Arc that's currently in beta. But for those of you that like Arc OS, this is right up your alley for what you want. Because it's in beta, expect issues, and if you run into them, I won't be the best person to ask, but I'll leave a link in the description to the RG Arc Discord channel, as well as the other Discord where you can submit issues. Before we get started, I just want to thank litnxt.com for sending me this device. As always, they've been a good partner of mine and have done a lot of videos with them and devices they've sent, and I've even done orders outside of them sending me devices, so check them out if you're interested in this device or anything else. And I'll leave a link in the description to their website. So let's jump right in. The first thing you'll need is 1 or 2 branded SD cards and an SD card reader. This process won't work with the stock SD cards, and it'll cause issues. Same with an unbranded card reader. I'll be using SanDisks for both of my cards, since I'll be doing a 2-card method here. And I'll be using a Ugreen SD card reader. Everything's linked in my description in case you want the same ones I have. If you're doing 1 card, just make sure it's large enough for all the games you want to play. I'd suggest at least 128 GB for this model. It's also probably best if you do all of this on 2 new SD cards, and keep what you've been using separate, in case you want to go back. So first thing we want to do is head to the Retro Arena Google Drive and download the latest one, which as of this video is Beta 9. And of course this link is in the description. Then, once it's downloaded, just right-click and extract it. Don't forget this step. After extracting, you should see an image file and another zip. Now, download Rufus if you don't already have it, and we're going to be using Rufus to flash our first SD card. So the one that you want to use for the operating system, if you're doing 2 cards. Open Rufus and make sure the device is your first SD card. Then select, navigate to the image file that we extracted, and select it. Then click Start and Yes to any warnings. This is going to take a bunch of time, so go and check on those loved ones while you wait. Carlos is still thriving. While you wait, just make sure you have your ROMs and BIOS files ready. If you have no idea what those are, I have a video linked in the description that can help. Or if you prefer a large ROM and BIOS pack with everything, you can head to the Tiny Best Set Go page. Just read the instructions for how to download what you want. You can ignore that it says it's for Garlic OS or Onion OS. They're just ROMs and BIOS files, and you can move them to any handheld that you want. But seriously, read the instructions for how to download them. Once Rufus is done, go ahead and safely eject your SD card. And now if you're doing the 2 SD card method, insert that into your PC. Go ahead and right-click the drive in File Explorer, Format, and you want to format it as NTFS. Feel free to just copy the settings that I have on screen. Once that's done, jump back into the Retro Arena folder that we extracted, and you should see a zip file there called SD2 Platform Structure. Go ahead and copy that zip and paste it onto your SD card. Then extract it. Don't extract it to a folder, extract it right to the root of the SD card. Once that's done extracting, you can delete the zipped file. This is your ROM SD card, so feel free to just move all of your ROMs and BIOS files over now, if you'd like. It should be pretty self-explanatory, but each folder is a game system. So move your Game Boy games to GB, Master System to MS, and so on. put your BIOS files directly in the BIOS folder. After all of that, safely eject. Now pop both or your one SD card if you're doing one into the RG Arc and turn it on. Let it boot and you should see a home screen like mine, Emulation Station. Now let's head over to RetroArch and then head to Settings. Network, and connect to your Wi-Fi here. I saved configuration for good measure, but it might not be needed. Exit RetroArch and head to Options, Arc Updates, and run and install the latest update. Once that's done, exit there and then head to Fix Permissions in Options. Reboot the device and come back. If you're doing the single SD card method, head to Options, Advanced, and run the Auto Expand script. Once that's done, you're all set if you're doing the one SD card method. Turn off the device, eject the card, and insert it into your PC. You can now add your ROMs and BIOS files to the card. And if you need to see what that looks like, just rewind back to when I did it for the 2 SD card method. For the rest of you running 2 SD cards, head over to Options, Advanced, and click Switch to SD2 for ROMs. Reboot the device, and you should now see system tiles for any of the games that you added. If you don't, I personally had this issue, head back to Options, Advanced, and choose Swap to Main SD for ROMs. Then when that's done, choose Swap to SD2 for ROMs again, and then reboot. It should hopefully work at that point because that's how I fixed it. If you want to use HDMI out, check the changelog README for instructions on how to do so. There's a few things you need to do, and it's right there in the README that you extracted from the original zip. There's also hotkeys mentioned there as well. If you want to scrape box art, push Start on the home screen, Scraper, choose what you want to scrape, and you can scrape now. You might hit a limit really quickly, and if you do, go and create an account on screenscraper.fr, then use those credentials here to log in for username and password. It lets you scrape a lot more. There's also 2 other changes. If you want retro achievements, or if you want to scale the aspect ratio of games to what they should be, let's head into RetroArch from the main menu, then RetroArch again. There's also a RetroArch 32 here, so all the steps that we're going to do right now, you should copy to the RetroArch 32 as well. Go to Settings in RetroArch, Achievements, and enter your username and password here. Then head back to Video, then Scaling, and change aspect ratio to Core Provided. Back out to the main RetroArch menu, click Configuration File, Save Configuration, and Exit. That's going to be it for this one. It's always nice to see custom firmware for these devices, just giving them new life and making them do a lot more than what the stock firmware can do. So hope you're enjoying Retro Arena. Don't forget to like and sub to help the channel grow, and hope you all have a good one.